Oh, hey Fitz, I'm just working on a new magic deck for...
Do you think this is what people want?
What people want?
Do you think that talking to me is going to convince them that you're a down-to-earth guy by behaving this way?
I just wanted to play cards this weekend.
Well, let me tell you something. This face is not your brand anymore. I have a life, a family. You can't just tack my face onto some logo and just...
I have contractually waived my birth identity and am now a man and student named Subway.
Commercials are just a part of the American experience. Freedom comes at the cost of waiting for the skip ad button. This is not a video about advertisements or corporate America, although I do have a few things I'd like to address.
Hey, maybe try staying on topic for the first 5 minutes of the video?
Comrade. There's a problem with how much privacy and personal freedom we've given up that gets abused by third parties that generate ads that target us at our most vulnerable times.
Well, that explains all the orders I have from Think Pop-Up and Geek t-shirts. How does Facebook always know when I need a new Calvin and Hobbes Marvel crossover t-shirt?
And this is not about targeted ads. Not exactly. Yellow. Hello. No. What's up? Yep, I'll be there in a second. Bye. And this is not about targeted ads. Not exactly. I want to look at how a brand, an entire company, becomes a person. Stop me if you recognize...
Welcome to Progressive.com. Did you find your policy okay?
Why do we have to wait?
Until noon, man. Till high noon.
I'll wait until high noon.
Nah, that's not... Remember Jared from Subway?
He's looking good.
No.
Sorry. Maybe this one will cheer you up.
Hello, ladies. Look at your man. Now back to me. Did you know that I'm riding this horse backwards?
Power! I'm gonna blow your mind right.
Those Old Spice commercials were great.
Really? Why?
The guy was pretty funny. The Old Spice guy.
You're about to get saved! Oh, no!
They really pump you up with these ads. They either get you really excited or happy and associate those feelings with the brand.
Janice, look, I'm in a meeting. Janice, look.
Power!
It's
Clobbering time!
Get all stained.
With commercials in such high demand in a market-driven society, ads need to stick out from the herd. Stick out from the herd. Need to stick out from the herd. Stay memorable in your mind. Your ad represents the brand, but it can be hard to describe a brand as that ad where the robot baby stares into the abyss and the abyss stares back. Did you think we'd forget, Sony? You'd think we'd forget this? Let's look at the wonderful Orville Redenbacher.
Hello, I'm Orville Redenbacher from Valparaiso, Indiana. My corn pop's bigger and fluffier.
You made the best better,
Redenbacher.
Now, it may seem like a character for a brand, but Orville is actually who he says he is, and he really is a man who worked to create the perfect popcorn. This does not detract from what Orville became. He is the face of a brand, but it really is his brand. This is the creator of the product, and he has attached his identity to it. Orville is not the only one to do this, but he is still a household name. The Colonel for KFC and that guy from Wendy's were also the founders who became faces of their brand, or at least showed up in their own commercials.
Get your Fitzer frames here. Can't hold a pick of Fitz without the frame. The frame is in the name. Fitz.
And before we go further, yes, all commercials are a form of emotional manipulation, because doing so can increase the chance for profit. All the actors portrayed are just that. Working actors, and it's not their fault that there's such an incredible wealth gap. It's the Ferengi.
The 10th rule of acquisition is greed is eternal.
These characters make it much easier to sum up your brand, what it stands for, and what the buyer can expect from you, the company. Orville, like others, was a welcoming face. Mostly. This association makes it easier to want to trust and purchase their popcorn, their chicken, or their popcorn chicken, what the f- But now we've come to the people who are not the owners of the company, but are hired to be the front man, the face. And why would companies do this? Profit! When looking online at what makes a successful commercial, there was a few things that came up pretty often. Being relatable, being funny, keeping it simple, and telling a story. Of these 4 things, I found the being relatable the most interesting. Of course, a commercial has to be simple. They run from just a few seconds to maybe a few minutes, so there's not a lot of room to work with. And with comedy, if you can add humor to information, it makes it stick that much more. I've definitely watched a lot more John Oliver's Last Week Tonight than PBS NewsHour. They both cover similar topics, but the humor adds an emotion to that information, which makes it much more easier to digest than the stale bread that is direct delivery. Let's take a look at Flo. First, is she relatable? Yep, relatable. And that's a point for relatable. Put it on the board. I lost the board. That's just like Flo. No. Yes, it is. She would lose the board. Nah. Yes, she would. I'm not Flo. I'm not Flo. Right around the time Flo had her first commercial, Progressive was trying out another character.
Hey, it's me, Progressive Insurance. You know, from our 4,000 television commercials.
The box wasn't bad. I mean, it was voiced by Chris Parnell, known in part for his role as
Cyril Figgis.
I'm sorry, did you say Faggus?
Figgis. I was very clear.
from Archer. The Progressive box was kind of like Cyril. The Progressive box was kind of like Cyril. He was a braggart, annoying, and a little pompous.
I got a 6-pack right here.
But the box lacked the charm that Cyril has. In the show Archer, Cyril has a high opinion of himself, but is constantly put down by the world at large.
I don't either, now that I think.
Queer! Cyril, what? Not the...
The box, he's just a character with a superior attitude. I think the joke they were going for is that it's a box that has a big ego. But it was having to endure that ego that made it a little insufferable.
Would you like it anyway?
Now, Flo. Beautiful, relatable Flo. She actually reached customers. In Progressive Chief Marketing Order Jeff Charney's words, Flo had to be relatable and a friend first. She couldn't be a hawking or a shill. How about the Sonic guys? Not a name. There's not a name given to either character in the commercial, and I think that's intentional.
TJ, this is ridiculous. You're out of order.
I barely even need a name. My presence speaks for itself. You have a name because you have 23 relatives of extremely similar build and tone, and it's very difficult to tell you all apart. Peter and TJ, their real people names, both known for their work on The Colbert Report and improv comedy respectively, are most famous for their role as the bumbling guys who order at Sonic every day.
Are we good at eating here or what?
Oh, yeah.
These characters, like Flo, are built around being relatable. They are two normal guys who have relatively normal conversations. Conversations that tend to disrupt the flow of their commercials a little bit and have a little bit to do with the product they are peddling. What if I started wearing a hat? A hat? Yeah, I think it makes me look nice. Oh, okay. Dank Discourse, a channel that stays on topic when others don't. The Sonic guys keep a family-friendly routine, never coming off as larger than life or superior to the viewers. Almost naive and a little dumb sometimes.
That's a cherry stem. Cherry stem.
In fact, like Flo, they are pretty non-threatening. And that part is key. Non-threatening. A commercial is designed to take advantage of the viewer, to convince them that they need the company's product. They can't have someone intimidating, ordering people around to use their product.
Hey, lady! Use your hand! Dial 1-800-COLLECT.
Well, actually, yeah, Mr. T and Terry Crews can be intense, but they're relatable in that they are likable. I don't think that's right. Relatable is about creating something likable. People do not like the idea of a faceless corporation trying to control their lives. Stories about dystopian futures generally show a faceless regime, and you wonder how that even happened. I don't think a regime could be faceless. Let's go back to Terry Crews and Mr. T. Their portrayals are loud and intimidating, but very enjoyable to watch, because the brands are trying to associate themselves with the personalities of these already established stars. Brands have used the likability of stars as shorthand to get you to trust their company. I like that famous person and their personality. I'm gonna trust that brand. Even though that star was paid quite a substantial amount of money, but that's no secret. They are making a living, and if Adam West tells me to drink Nestle's chocolate milk, well then my lactose intolerance is just gonna have to deal with that fact.
You're sunk.
We are talking about actors who, to be honest, were not widely known before their appearances on these commercials. They were blank slates that the companies had to build a personality on. They need these people to cast a fun, positive light on their companies. We don't want a business to be malicious or to not have our best interests at heart. They need to be our friend. Our best friend. I thought we were friends, TJ! These commercial stars, like Flo and the Sonic guys, are designed to make us feel like these companies are down to earth, that they do have our best interest at heart, that they are on our side. They know that we relate to and empathize much more with a human face than just an abstract idea. It's like when there's a tragedy or a disaster, you can tell people about the numbers and statistics and people affected, but it doesn't hit as hard as when seeing an individual suffering from it. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. It's much easier to relate to a face than a number. I see a face, I feel connected to it. A number is just numbing. Oh, that's it. Take the pain away. A company can tell you about its service. It can tell you how many customers it has that give great reviews on it. Or they can create an identity to humanize them. Give them a face. A face that we can look at, empathize with, and all just flock to give money to. And what can we do to combat this tactic of ads becoming more personified? Dulling our fear of the growing wage gap and the ineffectiveness of trickle down? Not a whole lot! Just remember that ads are designed to convince you to spend your money. Every business functions by having customers, and every YouTube account functions by having subscribers. Whether you're spending money at the grocery store, towards your political parties of preference, or the nearest concert, you determine what you support. Look at what you purchase and why you purchase it, because in this economy, a wallet speaks louder than words. So make yours count.
Toodaloo.